Jaloja, one and all, Orvillians across the world, across the galaxy, across the universe. Welcome to Talking the Orville, yet another episode of the Orville Season 1 being watched right here at this URL. This week we are watching Pria of the Orville Season 1, Episode 5. All you got to do is queue up the episode on your side of the screen right here, and we will watch it together as I provide not only commentary, and you guys provide commentary, but I'll also have some cool information and facts about the episode while we watch it. And of course, I'll be providing the subtitles of the episode so you can stay apprised of where we're at in the episode, or perhaps you don't have access to watch the episode on your side of the screen, so you can at least kind of follow along right here. Now, I'm not going to be playing any audio from the episode because that'd be no bueno, according to the YouTube gods out there. What's going on, guys? Barry Howman, how are you doing? Irie, official channel member, Archmage Frey, how are you doing? And Mark Lawrence, I saw you were there. There you are, Mark Lawrence. How are things? Well, I could see how things are going with you. You got a little bit of COVID going on in your house. Stay home, stay away from other people. Relax, chill out, drink some orange juice. I know a lot of people out there actually drink orange juice straight. It's not the mixer that the rest of us use it for when we're making mimosas. Some people actually just like the stuff. So go ahead and drink some of that. Get you some vitamin C. We know what the C stands for, vitamin COVID. But I hope everything's going on there. What is going on? We are waiting for the Orville to start production. We now know, thanks to Scott Grimes, that the Orville will begin production on season 4 in January. It's just a few months away. Seth MacFarlane, we know, also said there's going to be more Orville coming. That was awesome. We're still waiting on the studios to make their official little announcement, but they usually do that when they have something to show, some stills, some pictures from production, something like that. They'll get on that eventually, but we do know that the Orville is, in fact, FACT, going back into production for a 4th season, which is what we all wanted. That's what we all wanted. That's what I wanted. I'm sure that's what you all wanted as well. And Archmage Frey, of course, prefers pineapple juice. Vitamin P for pineapple juice. Good stuff. So let me go into the correct screen here. People are still filing in. What do you guys think about the episode Pria? I'm sure you've all seen it. I got a lot to say about this episode when we start playing it. Mark Lawrence, thank you for the stream's first super chat today. And we got Mark Lawrence, the official channel member, Mark Lawrence, going on. Let's get the super chat started. All hail Avis. Now, of course, Avis won't be in this episode, but he will be watching along right over there. We got Avis. We'll be watching the episode with us. No Krills in this episode, but there's a mention of Krills in this episode. And I got a little bit more information about Krills in this episode later once we start. Irie, thumbs up. Thank you guys so much for your support. Very much needed. Before we get started, I will say today was a little bit aggravating. Besides having to do rideshare every damn day of the week, all day, I've been applying for jobs as well, which it's hard. It's hard to find time to apply for jobs when you have to be working every day. But this week I applied for, 4 or 5 different jobs, and I did get an email from one of the jobs. It'll be an office job, which sounds cool. And saying, hey, we saw you had your application. Here's the official application on our portal, our website. You look good. Why don't you go ahead and fill that out? So I filled that out, sent it in. And then just a few minutes later, I got another email saying, awesome, great. Here is a link for an assessment. You can take an assessment. We can see right where you fit within our organization, which I don't care where I fit. I know what I applied for. That's what I want. That's what I applied for. But that's okay. And then I go to click that link, and the link doesn't work. It's broken. And so I'm going back and forth with their recruiter over email saying, hey, I don't know what's going on. This link isn't working. Then she responds, and then I try something new. That doesn't work. So then I respond back, say that didn't work. And now she says, I don't know what the problem is. This happened once before a long time ago. Maybe there's something wrong with that website. Maybe try again later. So that's my plan right now, is to keep checking the link and seeing if it ever works. Because and if it doesn't work, I'm gonna be right up in her email box again saying, hey, I'm trying to get a job. I'm not gonna lose out on a job because a link is broken. That would be lame. Barry says, it's a really good episode talking about Pria, and it makes me wonder what the universe would be like without the Orville. Very interesting you bring that up, because this episode is the first, I guess, multiverse alternate timeline episode introduced in the Orville universe, because in this episode, the Orville gets saved from the dark matter storm by Pria, but in the original timeline, the Orville is supposed to be destroyed. So after this episode, every episode after this episode is an alternate timeline. I would like to see what was going on there in the original timeline. In the original timeline, the Orville should be destroyed. What if they did a show? What if they did an Orville spinoff that's actually in the original timeline? The Orville gets destroyed, and then we see some other ship. We become friends with this ship. We continue the adventure with some other ship in the original timeline. The Orville always having been destroyed. That would be an interesting type of spinoff. I don't know of any other show that's done something like that. Mark Lawrence says, this was my late friend's favorite episode. He was over 90 years old and had a very, very colorful life. When Penthouse Serenade played at the officer party scene, he said he was flooded with memories from when he was a young man. Ah, to be young. Youth is wasted on the young. Archmage Frey, if it works during the stream, let's all fill it out together. I'd have to go back into my email. I got so many windows open right now, you guys. It's a little overwhelming. But yes, apparently it's a long process, because in the email it said, feel free, don't feel like you have to complete the entire assessment in one day. It'll save your spot. You can come back at different times and complete it. And I'm like, if it starts, I want to complete it, because I want that job. Archmage says, if the Orville was lost here, Isaac was lost, so the Kalon probably delayed their plan since they didn't have its feedback yet. Also, if Isaac gets lost, maybe they blame the Union. Maybe the invasion comes sooner. I mean, who knows? Who knows what happens? What would the war would have been like with the Kalon, right? Well, let's get on the correct screen here. And if everybody's ready, we will begin. So below me, you see a black screen. For those that are new to these watch parties, the episode will be playing there. It's mostly obscured by the video of me, so we can make it legal. But right below me, the subtitles will be playing, so you can stay apprised of where we're at in the episode. Thumbs up. All right. So are you guys ready? And I'm going to be telling you all about this episode, all the behind the scenes information, what people thought about it, what's going on during filming, all that stuff while we're watching. Hope that's okay. Archmage Frey, and a planet would never come to worship Kelly. So how would they evolve, right? It would change everything. That would be an awesome discussion to talk about what the Orville universe would be like if Pria never saved the Orville. It would change so many things. All right, Barry Howman is ready. I assume everyone is ready. I'm going to count down from 5, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. On 1, we all press play. Season 1 of the Orville, episode 5, Pria, starting in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. remove this and add this. There we go. Oh, and we're watching Seinfeld. Sorry, guys, wrong video. Supposed to be watching the Orville, but this is actually Seinfeld. Oh, wait, it is the Orville. What? This is the Junior Mint episode. So Junior Mint was dropped into the patient. The term Junior Mint comes up late in the episode. All right, let's get some information going. No, wait, let me double check. Yeah, no sound. Okay, good. Okay. So Pria, season 1, episode 5. This episode originally aired on October 5th, 2017 in the United States, January 11th, 2018 in the UK, and then sometime in March in Denmark, it looks like. This episode was written by Seth MacFarlane and directed by Jonathan Frakes. We all know Jonathan Frakes plays Commander Riker in Star Trek The Next Generation, as well as in Picard, all the seasons of Picard. He does a damn fine job in season 3 of Picard. Season 3 of Picard. Pretty damn good Star Trek, I do have to say. Iris says 12 watching, 11 thumbs up. Who's the slacker? Not to mention, I give it a thumbs up myself. So there's 2 slackers out there. Oh, they left. You don't have to worry about them anymore. Okay, Pria is the 5th episode of the 1st season of the Orville. Charlize Theron, I think it's pronounced Theron. Everyone says Theron. I think it's Theron. Guest stars as the titular Pria Levesque, a time-traveling antiques dealer determined to steal the USS Orville for a private collector in the future. There she is, you guys. Now, when Charlize showed up on the Orville, I'm like, damn, this show is no joke with the guest stars. In the previous episode, Liam Neeson guest starred. Both Liam Neeson and Charlize were both co-stars of the movie A Million Ways to Die in the West, which, of course, is an amazingly hilarious Seth MacFarlane movie. I think it would make a great television series. I think Seth, now that he's done Ted, make season 4 of the Orville first, and then you should do a season of A Million Ways to Die in the West TV show. That'd be great. You don't even have to star in it. You can hire someone to play that character. Yes, Archmage. Her mining ship is called the Horizon, as in New Horizons. Well, the term New Horizons actually came from Disney. They're the ones that pitched that idea to Seth. I think they pitched the idea of the subtitle New Horizons so that the show can be more than just the Orville. It could be something that can be spun off of years down the line. You know, you could have New Horizons, the Orville, New Horizons, the Redenbacher, New Horizons, Deep Space 4, whatever you want to do. But yes, her ship is called the Horizon. But note she clarified mining ship Horizon. But of course, the term New Horizons was years from being developed at this point, years away. Okay, here's an interesting thing about this episode. Pria was originally written as the 6th episode of the season. It was supposed to air after the episode Krill, which we'll be watching the Krill episode next week. That episode was supposed to be episode 5, and this episode was supposed to be after that. So when she mentions in this episode dealing with the Krill, it all works out, but it would have meant a little bit more if it aired after the Krill episode. In my opinion, IMO, some people would say. But the reason they switched the episodes was because they learned that Theron wouldn't be available, so they had to film it. They had to get it filmed and get it out there because her filming schedule only left her a certain amount of time to actually film the episode, so they had to move it up. And if, you get Charlize to be in your show and she has scheduling conflicts, you do what you can to overcome this conflict. If she needs to film this day or that day, you do it. But she's amazing playing this character. Geloja Samwise, welcome. I'm so glad you are now off of work and now you can chill out and relax. Have a good time. Samwise says, appropriately, I was listening to Billy Joel on the commute home. Sometimes you got to do that. Always Billy Joel to me. Despite middle of the road ratings among television audiences in the United States, Pria proved a hit among critics who gave the episode some of its strongest reviews until that point in the season. 2 years after airing, one writer reflected that Pria marked something of a turning point for the Orville. Well, saved the Orville, really, literally in the script, and I guess maybe outside because audiences loved this episode. It was very mind bendy with the time travel ideas going on. Very extremely mind bendy, timey wimey when we learned that the Orville shouldn't have survived in the first place, and now we are in a totally new timeline by the end of this episode. Barry says, even though this is not Orville related, the original X-Men series was shown consistently out of order. I watched it out of order because there was reruns all the time when I was younger. So the reruns, they just throw up whatever episodes they want to. So I watched them out of order all the time. Well, luckily the stories were very self-contained, so you didn't need the previous episode to understand what's going on in the episode. The X-Men series. Good times, memories. Let me get through some of the production stuff on this episode. I love the uniform that she has on right now. It's very similar to union uniforms, but all the black trim and the sleeves and the little ornate design is pretty dang cool looking. I would love if they had something a little bit more similar to that in season 4, because every season they make small tweaks to the uniforms and to the so far the badges as well, the discipline badges. Okay, production Pria was originally written to take place after the Krill episode, which we'll be watching next week. But they were a little swapped because Theron had scheduling conflicts. But filming of this episode was completed during the week of May 2nd, 2017. Of course, Jonathan Frakes was at the helm in this episode, furthering along Seth's desire to involve as many people from Star Trek in the production of the Orville as possible. Even Star Trek doesn't do that at this point. Especially Star Trek's like, we don't want anyone that has anything to do with Star Trek to help us make the new Star Trek. Seth is like, that's okay. I'll take them all. I'll get as many as I can. And then we have Mr. Potato Head. This is what started the war with the Kaylon, you guys. This moment right here. Look at that. There's torturing that poor Kaylon. He didn't ask for any of this, you guys. He just wanted to be a science officer. But look, it's just degrading. Are you where you look like a dick, Isaac? Now, one funny thing is the Mr. Potato Head pieces when they were filming this kept falling off of his mask. But he never noticed. Everyone else was laughing in the cast and the crew. But of course, he can't tell. He's wearing the Isaac mask. Mark's wearing the Isaac mask, so he can't tell if the pieces are falling off. But they kept falling off all the time. I don't know why they had such a hard time keeping them on. You think they were just glue them on or use Velcro or something? Yes, when they make Orville Funko Pops, Isaac needs a potato head pieces. Absolutely, a potato head case. So filming took 8 days. It took 8 days to make this episode, but John Debney's score took 3 weeks to complete. Now that's something I've noticed about all the episodes we've watched so far. Usually 8 days for an episode of season 1, but the score takes about 3 weeks, almost a month. And so, to think about how long, like season 3, think about how long, even without COVID, how long it took to make every episode. A lot longer than 8 days. Uh, and then you have to add 3 weeks to every episode for the scores to be composed and recorded and all that stuff. So creator Seth MacFarlane wrote the script for Pria sometime between June and October of 2016. However, even after completing Pria, MacFarlane lacked a suitable suspenseful scenario where the crew of the Orville would be introduced to the character. So science consultant Andre Bormanis, who of course also wrote the new book coming out, Guide to the Orville. It's now being released October 1st. You want to get the pre-order, especially the deluxe edition, which comes with the big, huge schematic of the ship and disciplines and really nice badges and cases for all the books and all that, for the book and all that stuff. Link is in the description of this video. Give it a little click. But science consultant Andre Bormanis, also executive producer and writer of the show, suggested stranding Levesque on a sun diver, a comet colliding with a star. MacFarlane loved the idea. Everybody thought that it could look really amazing, Bormanis recalled, and it gave us a good ticking clock to build suspense into a rescue mission. And that was a really great scene. We just watched that a minute ago. They had to save her from colliding with that star. It was very, tense. Are they going to do it? Are they going to do it? They got trapped in the gravity well of the sun. Are they going to escape? What? Get that tractor beam out there. And they have actual cool sciencey tractor beams, unlike Enterprise with their grappling hooks. Though I kind of like the grappling hooks idea. That was pretty fun. Watch Enterprise, you guys. Seth MacFarlane is in 2 episodes of Enterprise. It's been a long road getting from there to here. What was that, the 22nd century? And now we're in the 24th century with the Orville. So with filming of this episode to simulate Gordon as, well, we'll be getting to that here in just a second. We all know Gordon loses his leg in this episode. So maybe I'll talk about that in just a second. So let's see. Yeah, we'll come back to that. So preparing to air, after Entertainment Weekly leaked the news that Charlize Theron Theron would guest star in this episode, MacFarlane revealed that recruiting Theron was remarkably simple. I had worked with her on the Western, A Million Ways to Die, and I had one of the best experiences of my life, So I call and ask her to do the show, and she astonishingly said, "Yes, I'll come do your little TV show." In fact, Theron once said that working with MacFarlane on the Western film helped her recover from a 2-year malaise on acting. Coincidentally, Frakes recommended Theron to MacFarlane. So Jonathan Frakes read the role of Pria and suggested to Seth to hire Charlize Theron. And Seth said, "I already did." That's a crazy coincidence. Of all the people he could have said, why do you think of Charlize? That's just a crazy coincidence. Almost so crazy, I almost don't believe it, but it says it right there, so it must be true. So Seth probably worked with Terry Matalas on Enterprise, and then they both went on to make the best versions of new Star Trek. Wouldn't it be great? Wouldn't it be great if Seth MacFarlane brought Terry in to do something for the show in season 4? And yes, Terry Matalas' Picard season 3 is the best new Star Trek I've ever seen. And the Orville, while being very contemporary, is the best original Star Trek I've ever seen. The Orville, I believe, is Gene Roddenberry's Star Trek. And the new Star Trek is the new Star Trek, which is fine. But a lot of people miss the Gene Roddenberry Star Trek. And now we got it right here with the Orville, but with more humor. But not always. Sometimes you'll get the most serious things you've ever seen on anything that you've ever watched. And if you're just tuning in and you haven't watched the Orville yet, what is wrong with you? Get on it. We need you to be part of our fandom. It's the best sci-fi series ever made. There's a lot of great sci-fi series out there, but but this is the best one. It's the one that checks all the boxes. You need a box check? Orville will check it for you. Chickity, chickity check. Yeah, comparisons with Star Trek. Jonathan Frakes, referring to the Orville, says, I call it Star Trek with comedy. The episode has received attention for its notable similarities with the Star Trek franchise, especially The Next Generation and the original series. The character of Pria parallels the time traveling antiques thief Berlinghoff Rasmussen and the ethically questionable archaeologist Vash or Vosh. They call her Vosh or Vash. Oh well. For example, Rasmussen claims to be a historian from the future in order to gain the trust of the USS Enterprise and steal valuable items from the ship. Though in the case of Rasmussen, he was from the past and stole future technology and didn't actually originate there in the future. So now they're checking Priya's quarters because something just doesn't seem right with her. Because let's check it out. So Alara uses her Chilean strength to lift up that very heavy mattress, but she does it very easily, as you'll see. And there's just metal brick. There is a that metal brick. They said the lighting of that brick was set to be the same hue or color as some device from the Star Trek episode. I don't know. I'll have to find that. Priya's plot points resemble the episode Mud's Women. You remember that from the original series? Mud. Mud's Women. The Enterprise rescues transport Captain Harry Mudd and three hypnotically beautiful women from a cargo ship about to implode. In this episode, the Orville rescues this disarmingly beautiful mining captain, Pria, from a mining ship about to crash into a star. What? Very similar. In Mud's Women, rescue depleted and damaged the ship's lithium crystals. And the Enterprise is forced to go to a mining company base for repairs. In this episode, damage from a dark matter storm forces the Orville to a mining consortium base for repairs. Yeah, that's true. I just watched this episode just a couple days ago, 2 or 3 days ago, so I'm remembering a lot of the episode. In Mud's Women, Mud is revealed to be a smuggler and a con man. In Pria is revealed to be an antiquities thief and con woman. Anything you can do, I can do better. Anything you can do, Charlize can do more. No, you can't. Yes, I can. Not all the similarities between the two episodes were coincidental, though. Frakes, as director, intentionally aimed to recreate the look and feel of the Next Generation, in which he co-starred as Commander Riker for 20 years before, while capturing a lighthearted, funny tone to appeal to younger viewers. I'm a younger viewer. I'm also an older viewer. I was there day one with Star Trek: The Next Generation. I was little. I was like 10 years old or 9 years old, but I loved it, and I loved it before it even aired. And Jonathan Frakes said about working on the Orville, I was afraid that it was going to be like Family Guy, and it's not really. But it's also not really as serious as Next Generation. I think Seth and Brandon Braga, and whoever else is involved in all of this, they found a tone that clicks with this audience, either the millennial audience or the old school audience. Everyone is very pleasantly surprised at how well the show has been received. I'm happy to see the homage, and I'm happy to see success for whoever wants to steal good ideas. Yeah, and there's a lot of great ideas Seth MacFarlane gathered to make the Orville, not just from Star Trek, from all sci-fi, all different types of sci-fi. There's Star Wars stuff in here, Twilight Zone stuff in here, lots of Star Trek stuff in here. So here comes Priya to help out with the dark matter storm that no one's ever heard of before. And this is an important moment. So here we hear about dark matter storm. I don't think we ever hear anything else about a dark matter storm for the rest of the season. But in Gelogia, season 2, episode 1, the Union has already um, commissioned there to be a dark matter storm cartographer. So this is a serious deal. We're just learning about it for the very first time in this episode, and it's so important they actually have an entire position on the ship to cartography dark matter storms. Yeah, you don't ever want your name to be Mud. Muppet stuff in here. My name is Mud. Yeah, there's a promise song. My name is Mud. I'm the most fun son of the babe she's ever seen. I'm dressed in blue and navy blue. I haven't thought about that. And so Priya's here to save the day as she planned before she even got on this ship. Her whole plan was to get on the ship. Um, they get into the dark matter storm. She's there to save the day, to basically save them. So then she can now steal the ship, bring it into the 29th century, 400 years from this point in time, and sell it to the highest bidder. I do wonder. We never find out what does she sell it for. Did they have money again in the 29th century, or is it some other type of trade? Trading? What's she trading for? Lavish things? Why would she need lavish things in a world that supposedly has matter resynthesizers? You can just make whatever you want, right? Hey, Archmage, how's the family? The family is good. I wish I got to see them more, but I do my best. I do my absolute best. The family is great. Uh, Jessica and Jace both went to the doctor yesterday for their annual checkup. Everything's good. Everything's going great. That's all I got to say about that. But thanks so much. I hope your family's doing good too, Archmage. Additionally, okay, so we know Priya is from the 29th century. So several Star Trek shows had visitors from the 29th century, which may have inspired the choice to have Levesque come from that particular century. I would like to know more of what's going on in the 29th century. She raises a lot of questions. Who was the dude from the 29th century in Enterprise? Is it Lieutenant? I can't remember the dude's name, but he was from the 29th century. I think the Time Police people come from the 29th century. Maybe I can't remember. Daniels, that's it. Daniels. They talk a lot about Daniels in the second half of Enterprise. Enterprise is such a great show. I mean, it takes a while to get off its feet, but all Star Trek series, legacy art Star Trek series, all took a little while. With Enterprise, it takes me till I think about episode 3 to really start getting into it, and then the show, of course, changes a lot. And then in season 2, episode 1, the one where T'Pol tells that story about from the 1950s about her family that were on Earth, something like that. That really gets me into the whole Enterprise mythos. Um, the Next Generation really doesn't become a banger. Like every episode is just a banger until season 3. Though season 2 had a lot of really good ones mixed in there, surrounded by a lot of junk. I haven't made much progress with the Orville fan film. I mean, I've always got ideas in my head. I've created the outline, things like that. I'm always coming up with ideas that I write down. Uh, but I am planning on doing an interview with Alec Peters from Aries Studios. Aries Studios is the one producing the script once I finish it, and we're going to be doing an interview where we're kind of giving you guys a little bit of the details. We're going to be revealing, announcing what this story is, and give you some of the specifics. I'll talk to him whether he wants to, because I already got the ship name, the ship class, I got characters. There's the whole story, which I love the story, and there'll be a lot of stuff in the story that talks about, doesn't show, but it talks about the creation of the Union and how this whole utopian society started. Because I have all that information, I might as well put it into the script somewhere, right? And this is when Ed does it for the first time on the Orville. Ed's never done it before. Now Ed's doing it. He's out there. He's a doer. And as he mentions in this conversation, Pria is the first woman he's been with since he broke up with Kelly. What was that, year and a half ago? And that's when the alarm clock goes off. And then here we are with the thing that just, this was shocking. It's hilarious, but was shocking. And it's a great throwback to the other plot point, the other story in this episode. You forgot all about it, but no, it's not done yet. He's screaming, and right there, I was like, what? Never expected to see something like that in the show that at this point I was still thinking about Star Trek. It didn't take long before I forgot about Star Trek while watching the Orville. At this point, it was still in the back of my head. I was still kind of thinking I'm watching Star Trek. And then this happened. I think this might be the moment that broke the Star Trek tether, snapped it. I was like, okay, now the Orville is the Orville. So filming this whole scenario to simulate Gordon as one-legged and hopping onto the bridge, actor Scott Grimes wore a large green sock over his amputated leg. I have footage of him wearing the green sock filming this scene. The sock was then green screened out during digital processing. I'm sure everybody assumed that in this day and age. But according to Peter Macon, Boris, that scene took 15 to 20 takes due to the cast laughing constantly. Everyone was busting up laughing while filming the scene, so they had to keep starting over. For the scene when Gordon hobbles onto the bridge with a tiny, partially grown leg, which will be up in a little bit here, effects makeup artist Howard Berger designed a small prosthetic leg for Grimes to wear. Grimes has added that he spent a total of 12 hours hopping as an amputee on set, which has left him with permanent back pain. So this scene has actually left Scott Grimes with permanent back pain. His back hurt, and it's because of filming this scene. All these years later. Can you tell us what Barry says? Can you tell us what the ship class is, or does that reveal too much detail of the story? Yeah, it would reveal a little bit of what the story is, part of the story. I think I'll wait to tell you what the ship class is. It's a different ship class than you've seen before, but it's a ship class that makes complete sense to the story. Is it a relationship? Yes, it's a relationship. I guess that might be the bio ship from last week's episode. If the star should appear, the generation ship, that could be a relationship because everyone there is meant to have relations. They did for 2,000 years, just relationing all over the place. I bet you that ship needs to be cleaned. Barry says, I thought Scott's back pain was from hugging the donkey. Oh, and now here we go. There's a what the hell moment. Oh, do you guys miss John Lamar as the navigator? I mean, it's great that he's the chief, that he's the chief of engineering, but he doesn't get to sit at the front of the ship. next to Gordon anymore, and that's what everybody loves so much, the Gordon and John dynamic. In season 2, it's just always some rando sitting next to Gordon, and in season 3, we got Charlie, and that worked pretty well. I mean, they didn't really get much banter sitting there like John and Gordon did, but it worked to have just somebody always there, same person. Any thoughts on a navigator for next season? Well, I think if you're going to be a bridge navigator, you got to have some experience. Like there's Lysella, who I assume will be on the show in season 4. Maybe she decides to serve the Union, become an officer, but she'd be way too green to actually be the navigator. I'm hoping they bring in, just like they did with Charlie, an entirely new character, someone else for us to learn about and know about. That's my hope. I don't know who would be a navigator of any of the characters that we already know. I like Dan to be out in engineering. I mean, he's engineering brain. Yaphet, who, well, maybe the new Yaphet. If Yaphet splits due to mitosis, and we have a new jelly character, maybe that jelly character would want to be a navigator. But it would be kind of distracting to always have a jelly character sitting right at the front of the ship. That might take people out a little bit. Whereas just seeing him every once in a while, I think works a lot better to help him meld into the mise en scene of the Orville. Let's take the leg. Now, a lot of people know already that leg is a lot more leg than Gordon lost. Gordon's leg is severed at the knee, but that's all the way to the hip. Barry says that's why I was so broken that they killed Charlie off, because we didn't get enough interaction between her and Gordon. Yeah, and when Annie was cast as Charlie, she was told right off the bat that her character would be getting killed in the season. So she took the role knowing that she would be killed off by the end. But I just posted the short the other day that what if Pria Levesque came back in season 4? She now has time travel abilities again, because even though they closed the wormhole in this episode that she was using to travel through time, uh, not but a season or 2 later, do Isaac and John create a time machine. They now have the Aronaut device, which is a time machine. They have it in this time. That means that technology will have been developed through the next hundreds of years. So I think Pria would have access to time travel again. She would have a whole different life. She wouldn't remember ever visiting the ship or anything like that. But maybe she's a good guy. Maybe she's doing things honorably, or maybe she's even more. Maybe she's super evil. This alternate version of Pria. But what if she comes back and saves Charlie right before the explosion, because she needs Charlie's fourth dimensional mind? You have technology develop as much as you want, but having a fourth dimensional mind is very rare. Maybe it's something they can't come by, or just something she happens to need. She's stuck in the past and needs a fourth dimensional mind to get out of the past and get back to her own timeline. And so she snatches Charlie. That would be a very interesting way to bring Charlie back, at least for one episode. Maybe she still gets killed off again, or maybe she decides that being with Pria is the life that she wants. Is like she belongs to the Union or to regular life anymore after losing Amanda, and she's like becomes a rogue agent of sorts because she got nothing to live for. Something like that. Who knows? But it'd be very interesting, very dramatic. Archmage says, I imagine during a really rough fight, Gordon might get a bit gooey with a jelly sitting there, right? Or maybe the ship becomes, maybe the whole navigation panel becomes super clean because the outfit is jelly. He's just You like to have those jelly cleaners to clean up your keyboards. That's what Yaphet's doing. Yaphet's dirty, but everything he touches is clean. Barry Howman says, but the Arnav device got destroyed at the end of Twice in a Lifetime. It got broken, and Gordon said it would take about 6 months to repair it. So, yes, it's broken, but they can just make another one. I mean, I'm sure they got all the details stored in the ship's computer, and they can just fix it. John said they can fix it, but they just didn't have enough time with what was going on right then and there to fix it. They didn't want to wait 6 months. But yeah, I'm sure they can just make another one. So this scene where Gordon and Isaac, well, actually, it's the scene later on when Isaac is dead and Gordon and Isaac are talking. That was actually filmed way later in the filming process, uh, and they did it just to add context and sentimentality between the two characters. I wish they did a little bit more Gordon and Isaac stories in the Orville. Maybe we'll get that in season 4. Well, that's what they should do. Barry says, but I think they left it alone because of how dangerous time travel is. Oh, absolutely. I mean, they talk about how dangerous time travel is all the time in the Orville, especially Ed. But that doesn't mean other people don't come along and do what they will with it. All it takes is for time, for schematics to be found, or just someone to say, let's do it anyway. Who cares what Ed thinks? He's just some captain over there. The Admiralty wants time travel. A lot can happen in 400 years. Pria Lefesque can happen. This is so okay. So I've watched Orville on Hulu. I've watched it on Disney, and I own it on Amazon. Digitally own it on Amazon. And I have to tell you, from watching all the episodes on these different platforms, Amazon looks the best because I'm watching it right here on this computer screen. When I watch it on Amazon, it looks great. The colors are more vivid. Everything's clearer. It just looks really damn good with Amazon. If anyone was wondering. Um, but look at this episode. This episode, as good as it looks, it's pretty cheesy compared to season 3. New Horizons looks so good. The previous seasons pale in comparison, but it still looks really good. But I would wonder what this would look like if they had the season 3 budget. And I'm hope season 4 has the same budget as season 3. I'm assuming it does. They got a nice tax credit. They got some Disney money again, and Disney got all the money. They're making all that Star Wars, and all the money they make on Star Wars, they're going to put some of that money into making the Orville. As long as they don't turn the Orville into Star Wars. I'm cheeky when it comes to Star Wars. I'm purposely over Star Wars, but I've been purposely over Star Wars since 1996. So I'm a fan of the Star Wars universe, but I'm so over Star Wars being thrown at into my face that I purposely give it a hard time. But there is that new open world Star Wars game that looks pretty damn good. I would not mind being able to try that game out, but of course I'd have to find time. I won't be able to have time to do anything fun like that until I land a steady job. This ride share ain't working. And you spend so much money on gas doing the ride sharing. All right, Isaac's back. My algorithms were integrated into the chip. Oh yeah, we got your physical body. Don't you worry, Isaac. Now, of course, when Isaac shuts down abruptly next season, they got to take him to Kalon. Imagine, well, even in season 2 when they went to Kalon, that looked so damn good. Planet Kalon looks so good. It was so high and above the effects from season 1, as good as season 1 looks. And then even beyond how good that looked in season 2, season 3 blows it away. I cannot wait for season 4. I don't know if they can make it look any better. It looks so damn good in season 3. I think, in season 3 they made it super widescreen. I think season 4 they should make it vertical. They should film the show vertical since everyone loves vertical videos so much nowadays. I bet it'll be even more popular. Just kidding. That would suck. Barry says, I hear mixed reviews on that game. I haven't seen any reviews of it. I just saw the trailer for it. I'm like, damn, it looks pretty good. But I have no idea. But the people that like are saying really good things about it. That's usually the case. I usually don't listen to reviews because I know how the internet is. So there might be people that plan on hating something, or even if they don't hate it, they look for something to hate on it so they can get views. But sometimes games just suck. Like I remember everyone was hating on Days Gone. That game's amazing, and everybody nowadays is like, that game's amazing. But the reviews when it first came out sucked, and even the people that reviewed it back then are saying, "Oh, we were wrong. That game's actually really good." Okay, this is so interesting in this episode right here. Ed is what's interesting with this is like, okay, he's about to change Priya's timeline. But is there a way? This is why time travel will just melt your brain. If he stops her from becoming the antiques dealer, preventing her from being able to time travel, wouldn't that stop her from ever coming to the Orville and saving the Orville in the first place? Shouldn't that have never have happened, or does it not really account for that until after he does it? So everything that happened before in his timeline uh, happened, but in her timeline it never happened. It's so confusing, you guys. This is what gives people a headache. Originally, that time, that wormhole, the original effect for it, it was brighter and it was spinning really fast. I'm so glad they didn't do that. I really liked the where it just kind of looks like a giant round pool uh, in space. And that is the end of an amazing episode of the Orville, you guys. Priya, Priya, we like that episode. Let's go back to my other screen. Here we go. Star Trek Prodigy Season 2 actually did a pretty good job of explaining how time travel works. Really? I don't know if I'll ever have time to watch that show. There's so many shows I don't watch because I'm like, I'll never have time. I don't have time. I probably have time, but I'm like, I don't have time to to like, yeah, I'm going to do that and then invest and actually watch it. But probably I could have. Barry says, unless it works like it does in MCU and it just creates a branch reality. I'm kind of the branch reality mindset where I'm like, well, yeah, it has to have happened, or the Orville would just disappear as well, unless they start that alternate timeline, which Ed kind of said that's what this is a new timeline now. So there still should be a timeline where the Orville was destroyed. There's a timeline where it wasn't destroyed. There's a timeline where Ed and Kelly never got together and it caused the Kalon to destroy most of the universe. And there's also a timeline where that didn't happen. There's also a timeline where the timeline got put back together after the whole the road not taken thing, where they went back and made sure Kelly got with Ed. I mean, there's probably so many different timelines just created from the things that happened in the Orville series. Yes, Archimage Frey says Crisis on Infinite Orvilles. That deserves to be put on the screen. Everybody, that's what we need. Somebody needs to write that. Let me see if there's any other cool information about this episode before I end the live stream. Also, thank you so much for your support. Thank you so much, channel members, for joining the channel. Thank you for tuning in. There's a lot of fun here. I have a hard time right now having time to make longer videos, so I've been putting out I found a new way to do shorts. I've been taking a lot of my old shorts that got me in trouble, re-editing them into little tiny bits while I do voiceover. Oh my gosh, Mike Vargas, thank you so much. Let me shut my mouth about what I was just saying, and let's put Mike up on the screen. Hey, JP, thanks for helping keep the Orville alive. That is what I'm all about. I'm always about keeping the Orville alive. We're getting a season 4, Mike, and even after season 4, I'm going to do my best to keep the Orville alive. And that's what this whole community, this whole fandom has become over the years. But thank you so much, Mike. And we're just going to keep that on screen for a while. And I'll tell you something, Mike. I just became this channel, this new Talking the Orville channel, just became monetized. I don't know what, a week or two ago, a couple weeks ago. But I have not yet reached the minimum that YouTube requires as far as ads and donations and stuff like that to cash out this month or to get paid by YouTube. It'll be next month I get paid by YouTube. I hadn't reached their minimum requirement yet, but you just made it where this channel achieved the requirement. So thank you so much for that. I will be getting a little YouTube paycheck next month. Thank goodness. And it's all for you. Otherwise, I have to wait yet another month, because waiting another month, I would have done it. But thanks a lot, Mike. It is very much appreciated. Scott Grimes and Adrian had a little conversation about this episode. While general television audiences were strongly enthusiastic for the show, we're very enthusiastic. Professional critics responded more tepidly. Now we know season 1 of the Orville on Rotten Tomatoes, the critics just tore it apart, but the audiences absolutely loved it, which just goes to show the importance of critics. They're just people that are looking to get clicks. Sometimes getting clicks means giving horrible reviews. Sometimes it means giving good reviews. They made the wrong choice back in season 1, and they gave the Orville horrible reviews. But the audiences loved it. It was like 100% with the audience side. So when season 2 came out, the critics gave it like 100% certified fresh, because they knew that's what the audience wanted. So always be careful with reviews, opinionated reviews. Sometimes reviews there's some reviewers out there that are doing the good work, but be careful on who you listen to. Win Grace, aka Archmage Frey, thank you so much for the $5 super chat. Is this where the money goes? Yeah, that's where it goes. Right there. You and Mike and Mark earlier at the top of the stream. Thank you all very, very much. But going back to Adrian and Scott, in a joint interview held shortly after Pria aired, Adrian and Scott remarked, Scott said, "It's been tough reading some of the critiques of the show because we knew that we were doing something different." Adrian says, "and special." Grimes, when the first reviews came out, it's like, I really wish everyone had seen 10 episodes first, then tell us what you did or didn't like. But you had to see what was happening, where the show was going, right, you guys? Later, the interviewer noted that fans love the show, and their reaction is different from that of the critics. Grimes says, "It's been great. That's the thing that's kept us." Adrian says, "I think the fans are loving it." Grimes says, "Yeah, and I've seen reviews go, you know what? I was wrong. You know that and that's good to watch too." So people are changing the reviews back in the day. Now that Adrian says, now that I get what it is, or I'm seeing it evolve. Ultimately the fans were right, and they usually are. Yes, the fans were right. Hey, Guillermo L. de Sicko? Sicko? We'll say Guilherme. Thank you so much. I'm sure I butchered your name. Hello from Brazil, and thanks for this great community. The Orville is one of my favorite shows. I'm so glad. It is my absolute favorite show. I usually, I've always loved sci-fi my whole life, and but I usually reserve watching sci-fi. I usually wait for something really good, because usually I'm just watching comedies. I love comedies. Comedies are my number one thing. There's actually a new comedy coming out. Over the years, I've become really fond of handheld mockumentary style comedies like The Office, Parks and Recreation, Superstore. Superstore is not quite like that, but it's in the similar vein. And there's a new show called I think it's called St. Dennis, which is a hospital style Parks and Recreation show. I'm so hyped up for it. I cannot wait, but I'm just trying not to get too into it. Mike says, thank you, JP. They will probably never do it, but I wish they would bring Alara back, but not as security, but on track for command. That way Tala can stay and we can get some camaraderie between them. I would love the camaraderie between them. I would love, and I've said this many times over the years, I'm a huge Tala fan. Tala's my favorite, but we love Alara. We have a special spot in our hearts for Alara. I would love for Alara and Tala to team up on a mission together. We need both of them for whatever reason, and have them just really slay it up. Just slay it up. Get it going. I would love for Halston to return for that. At least not just a walk-on cameo, a full episode. And bring back Robert Picardo as well. His acting in the episode Home, that was just the last time we saw Robert Picardo play Eldest Catan. That is my favorite performance that Robert Picardo has ever done. And I would love to have his character come back. Before, I wasn't super impressed, but that moment at the end where he showed how much regret he felt for the way he's been treating Alara her whole life. I felt that, and I really appreciated that performance from him. Win Gray says, I would love to see a show with Newton and Alara on a station, but that's a dream, I'm sure. Yes, because Alara is kind of developing some security protocols or something like that, and we know Newton went off to design a station. That would be awesome to see the both of them working together on that station. Alara definitely still has a role in the Union. Newton's just awesome. Larry Joe Campbell, I think his name is. Let's get them together. At least go visit them. We don't, even if we don't get a whole show, just a quick visit would be nice. Let's do some we did so many great callbacks in season 3 from the Orville universe. There's so many more callbacks that we would love to get updates on, and that's one of them. Wingray says maybe there's a hidden weapon on a super dense gravity world and they need to recruit a crack team to go in there, right? We need a crack team. We need a team of people that are really good at crack, just to go there and crack it up a little bit. Alara is your favorite character. She's a fun character. She made me laugh so much in Command Performance. Her first spotlighted episode when she was drinking the tequila, she goes, "You can throw up? You can throw up?" "No, you're fine." That cracked me up. It still cracks me up till this day. Well, you guys, it is family time. Now that we've been doing the stream, now I got to go spend an hour and a half with my family before I go to bed and then wake up in the morning and do it all over again. I'm hoping that the link that was sent to me from that job that I'm trying to get, I'm hoping that it works, because I'm not going to lose out on this job because a link is broken. So if I have to, I'm going to call over there tomorrow and say, "Hey, can I just come in and use one of your computers to apply for this job, please. Brian Dawkins, thank you so much. Very much appreciated. Buy my favorite kitty, Nicola, some cat soup and give her a pet for me. Humans are hillbillies of space. Yes, they are. Proudly so. Nicola's doing really great, Brian. I need to... Our kitchen has like a little window between the kitchen and the dining room. So, we put plants and a bowl of fruit and stuff up there. But I also feed Nicola up there. I have her food bowl up there. So that way she can jump up there, not be bothered by the dogs or anything like that. And, but I used to have a shelf that I put up that was just for her. So she could be all alone and no one will bother her. None of the dogs will bother her. I took it down a while ago because we were rearranging stuff. I need to put that back up because I don't want her to be on that little window next to the fruit bowl. I want her to be a little bit away. I want her food to be a little bit away from our food. So when I get time, I'm going to put that shelf back up. I'll take a picture and show it on Twitter. But thank you very much, Brian Dawkins. Very, very much appreciated. Helping to keep the lights on here. And, of course, official channel member Brian Dawkins. Thank you so much. Dan Crane, official channel member. Hail JP and the family of JP. You know what's funny is we are the family of JP. All of our initials, my wife, my stepson, and myself are all JP. So I do refer to us as the JPs. Barry is a proud space Billy here. I'm so I'm trying. Well, I have so many ideas. I wrote a whole. I don't have the list up, but I have so many ideas for Orville videos. But I also need to eventually. I'm not going to do it until it's time. I'm still building the new Talking the Orville channel, but I still have the Egotastic Fun Time channel, which theoretically should be monetized by the end of next month. So I need to start thinking about. Well, I think about it all the time, doing some Egotastic Fun Times videos. Do any of you remember those where I would just have random topics every video I did and I would just make a stupid video about the random topics? I'm going to do that again. And I'm going to keep that idea of just finding a random topic and just this time I want to be a little bit more informative, crazy, weird, funny, but also informative. I'm thinking I'll start doing testers by making some short videos of that style, and if people like them, then I'll make some longer versions of them. But that's down the road, you guys. Right now, it's Orville time down here, and I want it back for season 4, and we're gonna get that. Thank you all so much for your support. I really should be going. My wife made dinner an hour ago, and I have not had it yet. So it's probably very cold. I'm going to put it in the microwave. But thank you so much. I'll see you very soon. We're also going to have to figure out the date for the very next the Orville RPG tabletop game. We're getting really close to the end of the campaign. The next episode might actually be the last campaign episode. And then we'll figure out some other fun Orville activity to do after that. Maybe a second campaign. I don't know. That takes time. They have to write it out and all that stuff. But we will see. So take care, you guys. Thank you, Mike, Archmage, Barry, Dan, Brian, Gilherme. I'm butchering it. I am so sorry. And anyone else that I missed. Hey, Semi-Lore, what's going on? If you like those one kind, sorry I missed you earlier. Kevin Scott, what's going on? I'll see you all very soon. Mark Lawrence, appreciate it. I'm going to end the stream right now, but I'm going to make sure that I give you a little bit of the exit that I like to have right here with this video. I hope all your times are Orville-tastic fun times, and remember, we all do better when we all do better together.